Good morning, Sedona. It is Saturday, September 7th, 2024, and at 10 a.m. each week, you know it's time for Sedona Life with Stephen Hanks, Red Rock Country's radio magazine. We're coming to you from the beautifully overhauled KAZM Mellow Mountain Radio Studio in West Sedona on 106.5 FM and 780 AM. And we also live stream the show at mellowmountainradio.com. So, folks, this is a radio show that each week explores all the fascinating aspects of life in Sedona and the Verde Valley, and the area's intriguing personalities, two of which my guests in the studio are looking at each other saying, we're intriguing personalities? Oh, that's cool. And our shows are also transformed into podcasts, which can be heard on Apple and Amazon Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. Our new sponsor for the entire month of shows in September is Laser Girl Skincare, owned by the delightful skincare superhero Anita Marcus. The Laser Girl Skincare operation now serves all of northern Arizona, as their expert teams can not only be found in Sedona, but also in Flagstaff, Cottonwood, and Prescott. At Laser Girl Skincare, they remove what you don't want and beautify what you do want so you can own your youth. And boy, do I want to do that. For more information, go to their website at lasergirlskin.com or call 928-277-1107. That's 928-277-1107. And I'm going to be telling you a bit more about my sponsor for this month later in this morning's show. So, folks, after I launched this show back in early February, my second special guest was Patrick Schweiss, the Executive Director of the now iconic, at least in Sedona and the Verde Valley, Sedona International Film Festival. Patrick appeared on the show mainly to tell our listening audience all about the upcoming 30th anniversary 9-day Sedona Film Festival. Now that we've passed Labor Day weekend and many Sedona residents are returning for the rest of the year, I thought it would be a great time to bring Patrick back to Sedona Life with Stephen Hanks and tell us about what the film festival has in store for area audiences for this fall and beyond. And this time, he's brought with him one of his key staff members who may really reveal what the unofficial mayor of Sedona is all about. But before we talk with Patrick and our other special guest, it's time once again for our top of the show segment, Stephen's Sedona Scene, when I tell everyone in my listening audience about some terrific events happening all over the upcoming week, and sometimes beyond, in Sedona and the Verde Valley. So last night was the first event of 4 in the Red Dirt Concert Series sponsored by the City of Sedona Parks and Recreation Department and APS Energy. Each Friday night in September from 5 to 8 p.m. will feature new music from all around Arizona by performers you may have never seen or heard before. The Red Dirt Concert Series is held at the Posse Grounds Pavilion at 505 Posse Ground Road. For more information on the performers and other details, visit the Parks and Recreation Department's events page at sedonaaz.gov/park events or call 928-282-7098. That's 982-282-7098. You know, Ryan, I'm really debating whether or not I want to keep doing phone numbers because I feel like I have to do them multiple times because nobody's going to get a pen out in time.
Right.
But maybe they'll remember the website.
That's the key.
Maybe, you know, especially if it's simple. You know, some of them aren't. Another event that opened yesterday and that will last until September 29th has the Sedona Arts Center and the Sedona Heritage Museum teaming up to present the Myrna Harrison exhibit and sale, featuring more than 30 artworks on view at the Arts Center and the Heritage Museum that span a career of more than 7 years, many of those years when Harrison lived in Sedona and Arizona. Harrison's work has been exhibited throughout the United States and abroad, and during the early 2000s, there were exhibitions of Harrison's work at the James Ratliff Gallery here in Sedona. For more information about the Myrna Harrison exhibition and sale, visit, here goes the website, sedonaartscenter.org. sedonaartscenter.org. That's sedonaartscenter.org. See, that was kind of an easy one to remember. Now, pretty much every week on Steven Sedona Scene, I tell you about some of the special events at the Sedona International Film Festival theaters. Most recently, about the Starry Night Cinema Series, when the festival presents films outdoors at Hillside Sedona, the Collective in the village of Oak Creek, and at the Wild Resort in West Sedona for what they call Wild Wednesdays. And I've been to one of those Wednesdays, and it was very wild. You know, it was wild because they had a hard time keeping the screen up that night when we saw the Four Seasons. Yeah, right, a little windy, but they did it. They do a great job. But since I have the Festival Brain Trust with me in the studio this morning, I can have them tell you about what's coming up, not only this week, but for the weeks to come. So besides Patrick Schweiss, who around these parts needs no introduction, as much as I'm sure he likes to hear one, we have with us in the studio Reba Stone, who is the Film Festival's Operations Manager. Reba moved to Sedona from the Chicago area 13 years ago to retire, likely story, and she says, quote, unquote, I accidentally started working for the film festival. She started as a volunteer around 2013 and 2014, and I guess she's so busy she doesn't remember exactly when she started working for the festival, and now she's one of Patrick's most valuable staff members. We'll be talking with Reba in a bit, but Patrick, I want to start with you and congratulate you on celebrating what I think this July was your 20th anniversary as the executive director of the film festival.
Well done. It was. Thank you.
Yeah.
I started 20 years ago, so I'll be doing my 21st festival, and the festival will be 31 in February, which I think is also a significant number for this show, right, Stephen?
Exactly. Yeah. Tell us.
Yeah. So this is your 31st show.
It's my 31st show, and it's the
31st anniversary of the festival. I think this is meant to be. This is a Sedona moment right here, right now.
Well, we might as well talk about the other thing that's kind of weird is that we both have daughters who had birthdays on Thursday.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So happy birthday to both of our daughters.
I know,
a couple
it's
of
great.
days late.
I mean, my daughter's 32 now, so she just missed being 31 the same year.
Oh, man. That was bad planning.
That would have been
bad planning.
So the last time you were here, I know we talked a lot about the history of the film festival, how it started, how it evolved, but I don't think we really talked much about how you personally ended up being involved at the beginning, what your background was to motivate you to be involved, and what attracted you to doing this kind of work from the beginning.
Well, this is a very long story. We would need far more than your hour-long program, so I will make this very, very brief. I had zero experience in this. I didn't even know what an independent film was when I took this job.
Wow.
And that people think I'm making that up. I'm not. I was working for my in-laws, the Sedona Red Rock News, Larson newspapers. I married Elizabeth Larson, and I worked for them for 12 years. And in that time, I joined the board of the Sedona Arts Festival and was doing some other nonprofit work around town. I started the Oscar party. We used to have a big, big gala Oscar party on Oscar night, and I had a really wonderful committee that I worked with, and one of the women on the committee was with the film festival and with the cultural park. And when the cultural park went down, when it went bankrupt, we were part of the culture park. The Sedona Film Festival was part of the culture park, and there were Sheila Jackman and some wonderful people said, let's save this. While the mothership's going down, let's save the film festival and form our own 501c3. So they did, and Linda Smith and her husband Herb, Linda Kay and Herb Smith, came to me and said, we want you to take over the film festival. And I literally laughed them out of my office at the Red Rock News. I'm like, I don't even know what an independent film is, and why would I take over the film festival? They said, because you know how to work with people and you know how to motivate people. She was on my committee for the Oscars, and we had worked together on a couple of other things. And she said, there's no one that people will rally behind more than you. I think you should do this. And again, I kind of laughed them out of my office.
Yeah, it must have been great to hear, though.
Yeah, it was wonderful to hear. Very, very flattering, but I didn't have a clue. But I couldn't stop thinking about it for 2 weeks. I couldn't sleep. I thought, there must be something here. I kind of want to try this. So
aside from independent films, are you a film buff or were a film
I was
buff?
actually, the only thing I was doing film-wise was I was writing the movie reviews. I was in production and advertising at the newspaper, but I was writing the movie reviews for the paper. by accident, there was this woman in the office, this girl, Teresa, in the office, and we never agreed on movies. I would love them. She would hate them. She would love them. I would hate them.
Right.
So we jokingly said we should do a he said, she said movie review column and have a little fun with it. Neither one of us were schooled in that, but we were kind of Joe and Betty average going to the movies. This is what we thought of it. So we became the Siskel and Ebert. The
exactly.
He said, she said. Then she took a job elsewhere and moved out of Sedona, and I just kept it as a he said, like movie review column. And that's literally the only thing. And I love movies.
Right.
But I certainly didn't know how to put on a film festival.
Right.
But I was an event planner, with the arts festival and with the Oscar party. I was an event planner.
Right,
and,
sure.
and we are glorified event planners in what we do. It's very true. And so I went to my brother-in-law at the Red Rock News, Bob, and I said, Bob, I have no idea why I want to try this, but I want to. And I said, I need 3 things from you. And he said, what's that? I said, I need a front page story that says I'm taking over the film festival because I wanted to see it's a good thing because they know I'm married to your sister. And if I'm leaving the family business, what's gone wrong? So I wanted a positive story about me taking over the film festival. And I need you to cover 2 months of my salary because the organization is broken in debt and I need to feed your sister and your niece and nephew.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
And the third thing is I need an open door policy. If this gig doesn't work out, I can come back to the Red Rock News and work for you again.
There you go.
And he looked at me over his glasses and said, will 2 months be enough or do you need more? I had the family's blessing from day one. My mother-in-law called me that night and said, we've had you for 12 years, which is 11 years more than we deserved you. We're really grateful, and we're wishing you well in this endeavor, and you've got the family's full support, and I've had the Larson family's full support ever since.
So you've been an executive director for 20 years. Was that how you start? Did you start right off the bat as the executive director?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there was no one running the organization. It was Sheila Jackman and some board members that were trying to just build it out. They were $75,000 in debt.
Right.
It was a bit of a disaster as the cultural park went down, and we literally rebuilt everything. And at that point, it was a 2.5-day festival. And all my friends were like, you took a new job for a 2.5-day festival? What do you do the other 51 weeks?
Oh, my God.
So that's when we started the Second Tuesday Cinema Series at Harkins, where to keep a year-round presence. We built a membership program because it hadn't been started since then, or before then, and to give people something to do all year long and give them a reason to support the film festival. And pretty soon that Second Tuesday series developed into a 4-week, Sundance series and a 6-week foreign film series. And it became so popular that pretty soon we were renting Harkins 45 of the 52 Tuesdays of the year.
Wow.
And that's what prompted us to go, hey, maybe we need to build our own place. And so 12 years ago, we brought, right. And while this was happening, what we were also building, while we were building that year-round presence and then started building the theater, each year we kind of added a day to the festival. So the 2.5-day festival went to 3.5, 4, 5, and eventually the 9-day festival bookending 2 weekends, which is what we've been at for several years now.
So when you started, like right off the bat, obviously, your first move is running an organization like this is, okay, I have to put together a short-term and a long-term plan, I would think. So right off the bat, did you have a 5-year plan in mind? Could you? I guess what I'm leading.
You would think that's the way.
What I'm leading up to is asking. Now that we're 20 years later and seeing what it become, could you have ever imagined it getting to this point, or was that always your hope?
It was not even a dream of mine at that point because I just needed to keep the day-to-day operations going.
Right.
I needed to surround myself.
So it was a day-by-day plan.
Oh, it was an hour-by-hour plan. I surrounded myself with people that knew what they were doing.
Okay,
Sheila, who had been with the organization from the beginning, people like Dottie Webster, Linda K. Smith. Septimus Joseph Bean, who was my right hand. He was my Reba back then. You're going to meet Reba in a little bit.
Right.
He was my Reba back then because he had the history with the organization. He had worked for them for a few years, just seasonally as box office and stuff. But I had to learn everything. What is an independent film? How do we get our films? I joke, but I'm very serious about this. When I try to figure out how to get a film, that first year, it would take me 2 months to figure out how to get a film because I thought I had to deal with the agents. I thought I had to deal with the managers. And these people don't want to talk to you unless there's money involved for their client. And all I wanted to do was show a film. And then I had to prove that we were legitimate out here in Sedona, Arizona, 2 hours away from the nearest metro area. So it took a long time to figure out, agents and managers have nothing to do with the films. I got to go to the distributors, finally learned that. And now, 20 years later, I will know within 3 or 4 minutes if I can get a film.
Exactly.
So it's, it was a learning curve, and thankfully I surrounded myself with a lot of people that knew what they were doing, and I learned from them. And now we are that learning source for other festivals and other theaters, and they're coming to us. I called a lot of people that I knew that I had learned of in the industry. But it really comes down to the team that you assemble, and the team, and still is that way today. I mean, the Sedona Film Festival is not me. It is the team that we built, and the team I'm very proud to say that's been with me for many, many years. Reba's over 10 years working for us, or at least at 10 years now. Lori's been with the festival longer than I have. Lori Reinhardt. Yeah. She was a box office manager for the Cultural Park, so we inherited her as well, and I'm so grateful because she's been there longer than I have. So we got an incredibly dedicated, generous, hardworking board. It literally is. It's our staff at the theater, our staff at the festival, our volunteers. It's who you surround yourself with.
Yeah. It's truly a team. Yeah. It's a team. And it's kind of like Velcro. You get near the festival, all of a sudden you are stuck and embraced in it, and it's always evolving. It's so much fun because I was going to retire and hike and knit, whatever seniors do, and this is so much. I told someone the other day, I never had to learn to knit or make a quilt. I am learning stuff new every day because we keep on evolving and expanding, which is so exciting.
It's so much fun.
Were you planning on making quilts?
Oh, well, I figured I had to do something when I retired. I was looking forward to having some free time. And I accidentally got near the festival. Yeah. Because I was just trying everything, like a dog off the chain, hiking, golfing. Someone said, hey, you want to? Yes. So it was like, you want to volunteer at the festival? Yes. Right, and that was it. That was the end of the story and the beginning of this chapter.
Right. No. So now, how about you and films? Were you always like a huge film buff?
No, I'm happy to hear I didn't need to be qualified because I wasn't.
Right.
So I'm a people person, a manager. If you see the hole, fill it, do it, that kind of thing. And I don't even know if I ever was officially hired. They just started paying me.
Yeah,
I was there.
Funny. Yeah,
I was there, and it was like, well, who does that? No one. Okay, I'll do that. And that's really how I built my job and taking Pat's lead, because he would mention something. I'm like, well, who does
this
that?
kind of hiring system sounds vaguely familiar to me.
It does. I think that's how you and I got affiliated.
That's how I got involved. Just walked in the door and talk about something else, but we'll get into that later. But anyway, so are you much more of a film buff now? That you've been doing this for a while?
Well, I love entertainment.
Right.
And I love the arts. And filmmaking is an art. I find it a very difficult one, expensive one. It's amazing any film ever gets made. And when you get around the festival or the theater, when you begin to realize not just the business side of trying to get a movie, which I had no clue. I just thought, well, yeah, I want to show that. Let's show it. I know you had to pay someone. But what it takes to build a movie in the art form is absolutely amazing. And you get more. I have more respect for the filmmaker, the writers, the editors, the cinematographers, and then giving them a venue to bring that product. Because where do you take your film? You might be able to show a painting in a gallery, but where do you take your film? There's no gallery to show a film at, except for the indie theaters. Right. So it was actually a natural marriage. I was in the entertainment industry to put myself through college, so that was great. And then I had to go make real money.
There you go. Because there's not real money in this business for sure. That's right.
No. But so I think the love of just entertainment, love live shows, of which we do a smattering of.
Right.
Just love that. But entertaining people, just taking them out of their daily life for a couple hours, it's really a treat and a blessing for us to provide that.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about, and hopefully we wouldn't be getting too much in the weeds and inside baseball, so to speak, and asking you this, but what are some of the jobs, like the top responsibilities you have as operations manager?
Oh, my God.
I'm sure it's
anything we need done, I would venture to say, because we keep adding things to her plate.
My husband describes my job as anything that needs to get done that nobody's doing is mine. So I would say if there was a hard part to it, and I wouldn't call it hard, is I've managed people before, but they had pay and salaries. And now I manage hundreds of people that are volunteers. I'm very blessed because I have a wonderful crew that work for us, and we couldn't put this on without volunteers. It's just, we're a community theater that's just outgrown our britches is really what we are. But at the core, we're a community theater run by the community, supported by the community, and those are the people I deal with. So it was a whole new learning curve when you had no leverage.
I'm guessing that you guys don't have that much trouble getting volunteers. I mean, I think, is it more people just gravitate to you and offer their services, or do you actually recruit at times?
It's a combination, and I have to say, they gravitated towards us probably up to about 2018, and then we began to lose the help that we needed. And then when COVID came,
that was probably
it was devastating because people who had paying jobs couldn't fill them. We had volunteer jobs, and our people are seniors, the high risk group during COVID. Right. So I have to say I like to call it our family. Our SIFF family is so loyal that out of 55 year-round volunteers, 35 of them stayed with us through COVID and came in. That's
amazing.
And did all the protocol to keep everybody safe, keeping the community safe so we can still have an outlet to get out and get out of our homes. So
we have a very dedicated team that Reba's put together. And a case in point with COVID, and unfortunately for health reasons, she's alive, but she's no longer able to volunteer for us. During COVID, Collie Baldwin, she was a woman who, since I started in 2004, when we started the second Tuesday Cinema Series, every Tuesday, and I'm not kidding, every Tuesday since 2004, Collie was with us anytime we had an event. When we built the theater 12 years ago, every Tuesday was hers. She owned that. And it was, people would come on Tuesday nights because they knew Collie was the volunteer. They're like, it was like coming home. You're seeing someone in your living room. You're friendly. Collie called us in tears during COVID when, for the 5 months the theater was closed, because she didn't know what to do on Tuesday nights, and she was so sad, and she missed the family, the camaraderie, the customers, our loyal patrons. She missed it, and she didn't like not being in the theater. And it's so beautiful, and we have that story from so many of our people who, they take ownership of the theater. Reba's got them so well trained, groomed. They're a family, and they would do anything for this theater. And it's what you built with. Well,
you can feel that when you're a customer and you just come into the lobby and you're getting ready to get your snacks and give the tickets in and seated. I mean,
you're absolutely right, because if I have a volunteer go missing, whether they go home for the summer or whatever, if they're missing too long, the patrons will go, where's that woman that works on Wednesday night? Because they're so used to her being there or him being there.
There's a comfort factor in seeing the familiar faces.
There is.
In a way,
There is. And that's why I think of everybody as a family. We definitely are. I've had women call me on their way to the emergency room where it's their shift and go, I'm in the emergency room. I'm having a heart attack. Can someone cover for me?
Oh, yes.
And I mean, that's a. I don't mean to tell that story, except that that's the dedication these people have to our community that we have.
I wasn't planning on asking this, but since COVID came up, and I am not trying to be any kind of an alarmist, but I think this is important to know. By all reports, and I had COVID again like 4 weeks ago for a few days, there seems to be a ramp up of the new strain. Are you guys noticing like any of that?
We have not. We're very blessed. We had a very generous donor allow us to put the air scrubber systems in the theater. In Mary Fisher when we first had that, and then right during and after COVID, we built the Alice Gill Sheldon Theater and automatically installed that. So we've got. I'd like to say, other than a hospital, we're probably the cleanest building you'll ever be in because the air is recycled 24/7 and scrubbed. The air scrubber system that NASA uses. So we haven't noticed outbreaks. We haven't noticed people panicking. I hate to admit this. I don't even pay attention to that anymore because it's just not a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
People are if they have COVID or feel like they are, they're staying home. But our numbers have bounced back to what was pre-COVID.
Oh, yeah,
people
sure.
are. Our festival this year was an indication that people are ready to move on, and we're seeing everyone coming back to the theaters. So we haven't seen any. Unless I'm wrong. Looking at Reba to see if she
you
knows.
notice people wearing masks at all? More people wearing masks?
No.
In that,
There's
This
two
is
or three
Arizona. It's not New York.
Yeah, there's two or three a week that come in because they may be immune compromised that for their own safety. They're not judging or anything like that. They're just, and we certainly don't judge them. If you're more comfortable wearing a mask, come on in.
Right.
And there are a few that do still do that, but for the most part, no.
Got it. Other than the eye masks that people wear, it causes surround sound.
Yeah. So you'll totally be in the dark. That's right.
When I went to one of his shows and he was handing those out, I was thought, why are we getting COVID masks?
Right.
Oh, it's for our eyes.
Yeah, the surround sound event. Yep. Cover your eyes.
So real quick question for both of you before we take a break. What would you say are the 1 to 2 biggest challenges in the job with the festival, either during the year or I don't know if we need to talk about it's always going to be a challenge with the actual festival.
Right.
But what are the challenges you face during the year for both of you in your particular job?
You want to take that first?
You want to go first?
Let me take it.
I must
Dealing
you
with
take it
customers?
first.
Well,
no, actually, our customers are pretty
they're
much
amazing.
under control.
They're amazing. Our customers are, our volunteers are, our staff.
Yeah, so we don't have fires to put out, and that's in the pre-planning. If you think about ahead of what you need for your people, your staff, whatever, then you don't have to put out fires.
What's your lead time? When do you really start getting busy on the next festival?
It's
right
usually
around now?
I start thinking of the festival about 4 weeks after the festival
Right,
finishes.
right.
Yeah, because there's a lot to get. There's a lot that happens.
Well, and part of her other job is a major part of her other job is she coordinates the screening committees that look at the films for consideration for the festival.
That's a big
so
job.
Literally 4 weeks after our festival ends, we open that call for submissions, and that's Reba's area. She's working with teams.
Make sure I have the screeners in place and invite them back in and get all the stats for the software set up and. 4 weeks afterwards.
Wow. How many people are involved in screening films?
24.
Wow. That's
24.
And all in different teams, wonderful teams.
Yeah, we have them all segregated so they specialize.
like documentaries, features,
features,
shorts.
and narrative shorts. And they are an amazing group. And I am like Big Brother in the sky because our custom software that we had designed for us about 6 years ago.
I would say
so
6.
Everything happens at the speed of light. So earmarking times allows me to see the films that are being screened, and they all have to be screened a minimum of 3 times. Now, they may be screened 6 and 7 because of if there's erratic scoring and all that. They all screen on their own, and they get together for meetings, and they discuss them. So, and we'll probably have about 1,600 submissions, and they all have to be screened 3 times.
1,600 submissions, and you end up picking what, about 160?
Yeah,
that much.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that would be definitely a challenge. Going back to your question, about what the challenge would be is just maintaining and managing that, and always getting the best product to show and managing those teams. I know that Reba works very, very hard on it, and it shows. And the heads of the screening committee, it shows at festival time. And it's an incredible thing to watch.
I just sent out an email this morning to one of the screeners because I noticed she hadn't been screening very much, just making sure she's okay, her software is working. And so I'm kind of their cheerleader because we have a lot of content to get through. So those are challenging, but they just become part of your normal routine.
What about your day-to-day challenges?
Well, I would say, and this is true. I mean, whoever is sitting in this seat, you could be talking to Camilla from Emerson Theater, from Julie from the Sedona Arts Center, Judy Poe at the library. Anybody who runs a nonprofit, the biggest challenge is always funding. I mean, without question, that's just the biggest challenge. We are very, very blessed, and I never harp on that because I don't think it's healthy to harp on that.
Right.
We are very blessed that we have I think we're the biggest member organization in Sedona, or at least if not one of the top 2 or 3. We are very blessed with a supportive, unbelievably generous community that makes that challenge a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
Both for the year-round things, our membership program, our sponsorships that they do, your wife included as a co-sponsor of the Opera
the Woman Warrior, as we call her
exactly.
here.
So that in itself, I mean, there are challenges and there are daily challenges. We struggle. We're a nonprofit. Every nonprofit in Sedona, certainly in the world, struggles with that. Yeah. We just have things in place to make the funding happen. A lot of people don't realize that for a film festival and anyone that's in the entertainment, cultural nonprofit, live theaters, film, that kind of thing, ticket sales only account for 1/3 of the operating revenue. All the rest has to be raised in sponsorships, memberships, donations, corporations, ad sales. I'm looking at you for our program. So all of that has to be made up. So that's an ongoing challenge. It's not insurmountable, and mainly again here because of our incredibly generous community.
Yeah. Isn't it a double-edged sword regarding the fundraising part of it? Because on the one hand, you need to let people know that you need the funding, and but you also don't want to give the impression that you're desperate.
That's exactly
for the
right.
money.
Exactly, because we've all seen them, the organizations that are always crying help,
right?
And it's depressing.
Like all the politicians who are sending you text messages right now.
Yeah, so you want to back a winner. You want to get behind someone we know you need the funds, and we know you're going to be good stewards of our funds. And when we donate to you, you're going to make good use of that money.
Right.
And we're very proud because when we built the Alice Gill Sheldon Theater and we fundraised for it for our second venue, we purposely put in a goal to raise $500,000 additional from what we needed to cover all the expenses so that we would have a restricted fund that can do theater maintenance, upgrades, all that kind of stuff, that long after I'm the executive director, long after this board of directors, long after we're all not part of the family anymore, that fund will ensure that the theaters go on. And again, it's our incredible community that came out, our donors, our sponsors that came out and gave because they saw that as a really incredible vision and a smart way of ensuring the future of the organization. Right. And that's sitting in a fund that's earning interest every day. Yeah. So,
it's the passion for the project and then the proving it thereafter. Right. That way people are willing to stay behind us, get behind us, because it is passion for the project and then proving what we're going to do with it and bring it to fruition.
Well, at this point, it's not just that it's important to the cultural life of the community, but it's now become a beloved institution, for lack of a better word, right?
Thank you. We hear that often, and we like to think that we're always very grateful. We never take that for granted because people have a lot of choices of where they can spend their entertainment dollars and their cultural dollars. We are very blessed to be one of the recipients of that, and we're so fortunate. It's
absolutely, and it's going to continue. So I'm going to take a little break from my sponsor, and then we'll be back with Patrick and Reba and talk more about the festival. But our sponsor today, and for all of my shows in September, is Laser Girl Skincare, owned by Laser Girl superhero herself, Anita Marcus, who, by the way, has been one of the terrific past guests on Sedona Life with Stephen Hanks. Anytime I can get in a plug, I have to take the opportunity. Anita's operation now serves all of northern Arizona with their expert team in 4 convenient locations: Sedona, Flagstaff, Cottonwood, and Prescott. And the Cottonwood office is relatively new, by the way. Laser Girl Skincare offers the latest in custom curating a personalized treatment program to match your specific needs at affordable pricing and that fits into your busy schedule. Laser Girl Skincare begins each visit with a thorough consultation to discuss your concerns, medical history, and lifestyle. They remove what you don't want and beautify what you do want for results that last long after you leave their clinic. Because at Laser Girl Skincare, they want you to own your youth. And I can personally recommend Laser Girl Skincare because I am a satisfied customer. And by the way, before you get any ideas about what kind of treatment I had, I was just having my eyelids worked on. So let's not, because they do a lot of other male-oriented enhancements. For Reba's looking at me like, is he enhanced? No. For more information, go to their website at lasergirlskin.com. That's lasergirlskin.com, or call 928-277-1107. You're going to be hearing more about that later in the show and for the rest of the month of September. So Reba, you mentioned a little bit about like what kind of things you like that the festival does. Tell us a little about what your favorite events or types of films are when you get a chance to actually participate as an audience member.
Well, I have to say the downside of working at the festival is you don't get enough time to go watch the films.
Right.
So that's the
That has to
downside. I love the events we put on. We put on mini events, medium events, private events, large donor events, and I would say that's probably that's kind of like the icing on my cake. They're busy and labor intensive, but they're so fulfilling and fun because you're much more one-on-one with everyone. So those are fun. We've done tea time at the movies, and some of them are for our volunteers. We put on parties and our big galas in November.
Yeah,
out
November
at
19th
Enchantment.
at
Oh my gosh, it's so much fun to see people you see walking around in hiking clothes all the time because it's Sedona. We're just we look like we're hiking even when we're not. But they'll come out, they'll break out the gowns and the tuxedos and the sparkly clothes, and we have live entertainment. So they're all fun in the concept, then the steps to get there, and then after it's over, I know Patrick and I are like little kids pulling something off. It's so much fun to see joy on people's faces and how much fun they're having. So that's probably the upside. There's a lot more that goes into the job, but that's the icing.
It really is. And we call Reba our party girl and our caterer because inevitably we'll have an event or private event at the theater, and we're like, oh my gosh, we need food. Hey, Reba, will you just go ahead and cater this? So, she literally wears a lot of hats, and she's not wrong. Whenever it's like, who's not doing this or what needs to be done, Reba will do that.
Exactly.
We're very blessed. And she's really good at it. If she would just screw up one of these times, but she'll probably do it on purpose so we don't ask her to do it again.
That's right.
But she's really good, and she's really fun. If you've met her, of course, you know, and you obviously can tell on this radio program that she's got a really bubbly personality, and she's such a joy, and so it makes all these events so much fun.
We have to talk about this catering thing. I have no skills, and I don't know how many times now. I don't even want to think about how many times Pat will come in and say just that. Oh, a couple of days we're having 80 people. Oh,
we need food, Reba. I forgot to tell you this.
We need okay.
You don't prepare it all at home yourself?
I do some of the preparing.
I had a feeling.
Yeah. There's just sometimes, and I hate to harken back to COVID because that's so way in the
I know. Yeah,
but we had a big donor event, and we had to come up with something that was pre-packaged for them that looked beautiful.
Right.
And I sat down and designed packaging and charcuterie boards for everyone, and
it was so pretty.
I don't know, and I have no clue what I'm doing. That is the skill set you need to work at the festival.
Right.
So you have to imagine it and then do it. So, but that is not. Don't anybody ask me to come cater, please.
Patrick, that you do a great job at that. Patrick, so now that you've been doing this for 20 years, I assume that you've obviously internalized what the more popular events and types of films the festival presents based on audience reaction, the numbers. So over time, what have you determined about what the most popular? And do you make your selections about what you're going to do during the year or given month based on what you know about how the audience is going to respond?
We do a little bit of that, but we really like to be a sampling of everything,
right?
Because you don't know what's going to hit, and our documentaries are incredibly popular, especially at the festival. I mean, they sell out much quicker than anything else because people are, if it's a subject matter they're interested in, they are passionate about it and they want to go see that. The films that do well are the touchy-feely films, the ones that make you feel something. Again, that feeling could be mostly inspiring, that kind of thing, but it could also be challenged. It can be anger. It can be anything that drives that. We've got such a variety of things that hit with our audiences. So we do bear a little bit of that in mind, but we also really want to always be on the cutting edge and always be ahead of expectations and always give people a little bit of a challenge, give people something they may not have seen before or a point of view they may not have considered before. So it's kind of fun planning that way, and it allows you more freedom. And again, there are things that flop. There are things that we put on for 5 times a week, and maybe 6 people come to each screening, but those 6 people are completely touched and moved by it, and we've done something. We've added something to their life, And that's worth more than having full theaters on a mediocre film.
What is considered, so you call yourself, it's an art house, Sedona's art house theater. Right. What is considered an art house type of film? Is it just something that just wouldn't be in a large theater like
Basically, it's films that are done without major studio backing. They're not. Okay. They don't have the Hollywood seal.
Imprimatur.
Right. It's done by filmmakers who are passionate about their craft without a concern for box office receipts. So they're much more arty usually. They're actually much better in a lot of cases, but because studios don't see a marketability for them, that they can't make millions off them, they go into what's called an art house independent film category. And they depend on art house cinemas like us and like others around the country and around the world to get exposure for those films. Sometimes those films end up getting picked up by a distributor, put into wide distribution, get Oscar nominations, Golden Globe nominations, all those kind of things. But they are really films that just don't derive from any major studio backing.
So I would assume that you get a lot of those type of films coming to you, right?
Yes.
So are you doing like a mini sort of screening process during the year the way you
we
do
are.
One?
We don't watch all of them,
right?
Because I certainly wouldn't have the time to watch all of them. So I literally depend on what colleagues are showing and the feedback I'm getting from them.
Okay.
What's being reviewed well in Los Angeles, New York, other places. And not everything that works in New York and Los Angeles works here in Sedona. So we've got to be cognizant of that. So we keep our fingers on the pulse of how's it being rated online, which films are winning awards at festivals, which ones are doing really well in distribution, those kind of things.
So talk about some of the upcoming events, like films. And also I've been hearing from friends in town that the recent comedy shows have been really well received and getting good audiences.
Yeah, we've started monthly comedy shows. Most of them are on Sunday nights, but sometimes when the comics are coming through, it's a different night. And stand-up comedy is risky because if you go to a show and you have a bad comic, you're not coming back.
Right.
Our audience has been so sophisticated, so wonderful that they are willing to give all of these comics a chance. And we have had some extraordinarily funny shows.
And Patrick, you must have tapped into somebody because our comics have gone up in quality.
Yeah,
dramatically over the last 4 months. I mean, so whoever
we
work
with two bookers,
okay.
Entertainment Max and Jester Entertainment. And what's nice for us is, they're not going to make $1 million performing a show in a 99-seat theater in Sedona, Arizona. So we are able to get them on their routing as they're on their way to some, a show in Phoenix, then they're going up to Vegas. They've got an open night. They come to Sedona. They can hone their craft here with a small, intimate group, and it's a wonderful, wonderful show. We get great support. Jay Kriske over at the Wild Resort, he's our hotel sponsor. He puts up our comics. So they've got a beautiful place to stay, a half a block from the theater. They come and do a great show. They're on to their next one the next night. So it's been a whole lot of fun to see that has really stuck and has resonated with our audiences. And then I'm gonna turn this a little bit over to Reba because again, one of her favorite things to do right now is our newest endeavor this summer is Movies on the Move, the outdoor movies.
I was going to segue into that.
Reba and I are kind of the team that does the hosting of that. We've got an amazing tech team that makes the magic happen. But talk about our outdoor movies because I know you're really passionate about those.
Well, it's wonderful because we have the community shows up for this. So it's instead of waiting them to come to us, my favorite thing is we can go to them to capture their attention. And the community has shown up. Now we have kind of like these groupies that follow us wherever we're at, which is so fun. So we have this little core group. It's like, they're here again, they're here again. Some of these people I haven't seen since the year 2000 that used to come to the theater. Right. Then we have new groups that we've never seen before. And this is why I enjoy working with Patrick. He's not afraid to try things out. Example, last night we showed Led Zeppelin at our Wild Wednesdays. It was well attended. Patrick, not a Led Zeppelin fan, sorry.
Not in the least.
And he literally ran away from it.
I went and hosted a film in Flagstaff.
Yeah, it was his excuse. Yeah. We had about 65, 70 people show up, all hardcore Led Zeppelin fans. Oh, it was so much fun. And it's beautiful at the Wilds. They have a whole garden area I didn't even know was out there. Grass, fire pits. What a great place to see
It's almost like a stairway to heaven.
Glass of wine. Oh, it was a stairway to heaven. And people were leaving going, we can't believe you brought this in. Well, only because Pat will try different things, Met Opera, Led Zeppelin, and everything in between. And we were just talking about this morning. He's not afraid to fall on his face. So we're not always have that cookie cutter movie, the dog
safe
and
one.
not the safe ones. They're all over the board. But the movies are so much fun. It is an outdoor party under the stars. We bring all the snacks, the wine, the beer, the popcorn, and they're everything. Some of the throwback movies, the feel-good movies. We have City Slickers coming up.
I was going to ask you. So why now? I noticed City Slickers is going to be on Monday.
On Monday, because we did not want to program against the presidential debate.
There you go.
We think it's important that everybody goes. We're going to keep the theater open for people who don't want to go to don't want to watch the presidential debate or want to record it and watch it later. But we didn't want to do a special event and compete with that. So we moved it to Monday for this week only.
And City Slickers on Monday is going to be
City Slickers on
where?
Monday at the Hillside Sedona, which is wonderful. And then Wednesday night, being the Minnesota boy I am, I love this. We do concert films at the Wild Resort for Wild Wednesdays. So there's a pattern there, a theme. Prince, Sign of the Times, his concert movie. So we're going to have a really wonderful Prince concert under the stars at the Wild on Wednesday. And then the following week, I'm very, very excited because we're back to Tuesdays on September 17th out at the Collective in the Village.
Right.
And we're doing Walk the Line, the story about
the
Johnny Cash
yeah.
with Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon.
Excellent.
And Reese won, of course, an Academy Award for her portrayal of June. So it's going to be just fantastic. And then the next night, and this will be very, very big for us, Elton John. 60 live at Madison Square Garden.
There.
Yeah,
I'm there.
Wednesday, September 18th.
You may need to get your tickets early for that one.
I have a feeling that one's going to be, because last week we had the Eagles, Hell Freezes Over, and we had over 100 people at that back in
About
in the garden at the Wild. So it's become very, very popular and very fun. And what's really wonderful about the Movies on the Move, because it's our movie truck, we can take it everywhere. There are people who are partnering with us and hiring us to do movies outside. So just the first week of October alone, the last part of September, first week of October, we have 5 nights where we're doing something. Our 2 usual ones, Pink Jeep is hiring us to bring an outdoor film for their employee appreciation.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Verde Valley School is hiring us to come out and do a film for a Pixar film because I think one of their board members or parents is heavily involved in Pixar. So they're going to do a whole Q&A thing out under the stars. And then the Library for Hispanic Heritage is doing a film that they're bringing us over for. So we're getting out in the community. The town of Camp Verde is having us come over for their trunk or treat and doing a Halloween movie with the kids on Halloween on October 31st. So we're getting out there with this trip. It's been
private
really
wedding party.
And a private wedding party at
Talakapaki at night with
They've
your
hired
people
us.
that have flown in to see your wedding. So
they hired you to do what? To show a film?
They're getting married on a Friday
in
Sedona. They want their guests to stay for the weekend and go hiking, and they were looking for something to do Saturday night. The couple happened to come across us when we were doing one of the films at the Hillside. They were eating at Javelina Cantina, I think.
Yes.
And they came down and saw, what is this? And they came over and talked to me and said, can we hire you out? This is the perfect thing to do.
That's fantastic.
For and it was amazing. So we called Wendy Lippman and Liz Moeller of Talakapaki. They made it possible for this wonderful couple to do an outdoor film for all of the guests and friends and family and wedding party that are here for the weekend, a private party at Talakapaki on October 26th.
Next stop, drive-ins.
Yeah, you got it, baby.
Yeah, I mean,
we have a drive-in screen.
We have a drive-in screen.
Literally, I call it the Godzilla of screens.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, you're doing a great job. It's on the selections of the musical films that you're doing. I love that you're doing these concert films. You know, I love ABBA. I came to see Mamma Mia at Hillside. I made sure that I sat in the front row because I was going to sing along at the top of my lungs to everything. And I didn't want to have all these people turning around looking at me when they.
Well, thank you
me
for
sing.
singing. That's why we have some sing-alongs.
It's going to be so much. Yeah.
I'll even sing in a sing-along, and I can't carry a tune. But they were like, "Oh, sing along, okay,
let's do it."
Yeah, I can't wait for you. You know what a big Elton John fan I am.
Oh yeah,
Ryan knows because I bring it up every show.
And it looks like the following week is going to be Eric Clapton.
Oh,
so
that's
it should
great.
be a good rounding out September. And we're gonna keep doing the outdoor movies until around mid-October-ish when it starts to get too cold for people's comfort. We'll stop. We'll resume the season again late April, early May next year. But it's been really kind of a fun. It was our first official season to do it, and we'll have a full season next year because we got to start it a little bit late this year.
So before we run out of time, and we're getting fairly close, I wanted to talk about the film festival program. which
Yes.
I am involved with. I needed to spend this time doing it because I'm actually. By the way, I get, what do they call this? A disclaimer or full
Full disclosure.
Full disclosure.
Yes.
I am an advertising sales executive for the film festival program, and I'm going to be I'm ramping up my work on selling as we speak. I always really start going after Labor Day. So here's the deal. The Sedona International Film Festival, which this year will be from February 22nd to March 2nd, 2025, and I can't believe I'm saying that year number.
It's frightening.
And with approximately 150 films, documentaries,
Yes, right.
in that range, and short subjects showing at the 2 film festival theaters, the Mary D. Fisher and the Alice Gill Sheldon, as well as right across the street at Harkin Cinemas, and some of the more prominent films and concert events at the Sedona Performing Arts Center. So that's where all the movies are. So as an advertising sales executive for the festival program, here is my pitch to all you people who are, especially business owners. The festival program, which is distributed not only at the film festival theaters during the festival, but at businesses and lodgings all over town, is a glossy and colorful 180-page plus magazine that includes, as Ed McMahon used to say to Johnny Carson on The Tonight Show during one of their classic comedy bits, everything you ever wanted to know about what's happening at the Sedona Film Festival and about the films is in this program. And then Johnny would probably say, "You were wrong, Patrick Schweiss, breath." So if you haven't advertised in the film festival program, and if you're a business or organization or group looking for a great marketing vehicle, as well as a way to support the festival, you should advertise in this program or even be a festival sponsor. Not only are the ad rates very reasonable, but you get 2 tremendous free perks for placing a print ad in the program. First, your ad will appear with the other ads on a continuous loop for about a half an hour on the movie screens before every film in the festival. Second, the film festival staff, in this case, one person,
Right.
Pam Brown.
Make it sound really good.
Yeah, well, the whole staff will be involved in this. Actually, I help advise some of the clients. So the film festival will design your ad for free. Now, let me tell you something. The value of those 2 perks combined are larger than the cost of the ad itself, by far. If you were going to buy space on a movie screen for your ad, and also have somebody design it for you, that would be thousands of dollars in value.
Absolutely.
So, it's actually, when Patrick was talking to me about working on this and he told me about these perks, I looked at him like he was crazy. But hey,
he did.
But you know what? It's a great selling point. And that's how we get people in there. So here's the deal. If you want to be involved in the festival as a program advertiser or a sponsor, for more information, you can contact me at Stephen@SedonaFilmFestival.com. That's Stephen@SedonaFilmFestival.com. And we'll get you going. And by the way, we have time. It's only September. The deadline for advertising and artwork is early January. But please don't cut it too close. It gets me kind of crazy. I have to ramp up my blood pressure medication if we're on deadline.
That's right.
So, Patrick, anything else you'd like to add about the upcoming festival, if you can impart any information?
We're so excited about it. So, thanks to this community, thanks to our sponsors, our donors, our patrons. We're here 31 years. I call it our Baskin-Robbins year. And every flavor for everyone. 31 years is pretty outstanding and growing each of those years, and plus with our year-round presence. So I think it's going to be a banner year again. Every year we say, how in the world are we going to top this year?
Every year.
And every year we manage to do that. So knock on wood, this is hopefully that same situation. So we're very excited about it. There's another really cool show I want to tell you and your listeners about.
Okay.
If any of you watched Soap when all those years ago when Soap,
Billy
the sitcom,
Crystal,
Billy Crystal,
his career, yeah.
the brother in the family that always spoke through the ventriloquist dummy Jay Johnson, is coming to do his live show here with Bob. Bob was his dummy on the show, and he travels with Bob and some other ventriloquist dummies, and he's coming to do his one-man show at our theater on September 21st and 22nd, and it won a Tony Award for Best Special Event and Best Live Show. It's called Just the Two of Us. Jay Johnson, the two and only. Jay Johnson, the two and only.
Oh, wow.
And it's an outrageously funny show, and he's going to be here doing it live on our stage.
Have you ever had a ventriloquist at the theater?
We did years ago. There was one that was traveling through the area. Certainly no one of his stature, and he's outrageously funny. So that's 21st to 22nd of September. If you're into mind-blowing mind games, Mentalist, and some close-up magic, Brett Berry is coming with his Red Rocks Magic Show on Wednesday, the 18th of September.
You know, he blew us away.
And he blew us away. He did a trick.
Us. We're in our
over
office.
The phone.
Yeah, phone and computer. And we kept on going, how did he do that? How did he do that? And then we'd go back in and check the computer after he was done and off the phone. We still can't figure it out.
Did you ever have an impressionist as a
Yeah, we had
performer?
As far as singing impressionist?
No. Somebody who does impressions of like celebrities.
Not really verbally, no. We're having Robbie Howard come back with his Christmas show in early December, and he does 18 characters. It's a Johnny Carson show, all the favorite holiday, Burl Ives, Frank Sinatra, all those people. He's doing that, and he's outrageously fun.
Oh, that sounds
and so
great.
talented. Literally 18 different singers he does.
That's incredible.
Going to be great fun.
That's great. So
this is why I don't have to learn how to knit. There is something different going on at the theater every day, multiple times.
Well, any last thing you'd like to add just before we?
Just watch our website, SedonaFilmFestival.org. We got 3 live shows this fall and holiday season at the Performing Arts Center, which we haven't announced yet. But the last week of October, we're doing an Everly Brothers tribute show out at the SPAC. And then we're bringing David Arkenstone back in December for a Christmas show. And the following week, we're doing the Christmas Tenors live at the Sedona Performing Arts Center. Watch the website. And, of course, our November 19th Big Band Ball Gala at Enchantment Resort.
That's great. And by the way, everybody's coming back to Sedona now, folks.
Woo-hoo,
so make your reservations early, or you're going to get closed out of getting tickets for these things. I really appreciate both of you being here. Patrick Schweiss, the Executive Director of the Sedona International Film Festival, and his right-hand woman, Reba Stone,
Thank you
Operations
for having me,
Manager.
and it's been a pleasure watching you work this other side.
Yes, this is a side of Stephen we don't get to see. This is kind of cool.
He's
Yes,
going to
thanks
come
for
into our
having us
office
on.
now and bring a microphone. And
all of my friends have called me a Renaissance man, and I tell them I can't be a Renaissance man because I don't play an instrument or speak a foreign language, so I can't be in that category.
Man.
I do a little bad singing, but that's
we heard it, Abba.
Yeah, there you go. So thank you guys for being my guest today, and special thanks to my show sponsor for the entire month of September, Laser Girl Skincare, owned by the skincare superhero herself, Anita Marcus. The Laser Girl Skincare operation now serves all of northern Arizona, as their expert teams can not only be found in Sedona, but also in Flagstaff, Cottonwood, and Prescott. At Laser Girl Skincare, they remove what you don't want and beautify what you do want, so you can own your youth. For more information, go to their website at lasergirlskin.com. Thanks always to my tremendous producer in the booth, Ryan Thompson, who after the show, as always, will send me the audio that will transform this show into a podcast version of Sedona Life with Stephen Hanks that you can listen to anytime on Apple and Amazon Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. And you can also find Sedona Life with Stephen Hanks on Facebook, and you can email me with comments and questions to Stephen@mellowmountainradio.com. Join us again next Saturday morning from 10 to 11 a.m. when I'll be joined by 2 women in our community, Frankie Reamer and Peggy Chaikin, who are very involved with the Northern Arizona Climate Change Alliance's STEP program, which stands for Sedona's Tools Empowering People. This is a program that is building community through tool sharing, part of the global movement to reduce waste and put underused tools to work. And if you're into Democratic politics, whether local or national, tune into my other KAZM Mellow Mountain radio show, The Patriotic Progressive, which airs every Saturday morning from 8 to 9 a.m. and is also live streamed on the station website and on the podcast platforms I mentioned earlier. But for now, I thank you all for listening to Red Rock Country's radio magazine. Have a great week, everyone.
On the road to Sedona, Sedona.